I think Trump has some advantages. I mean, once this convention's over, it's kind of the end of the honeymoon period.
Right.
And with the RFK possibility, I think that may put Trump in, help level the field, and maybe there'll be some more accountability with her own issue, because there hadn't been any this week.
Welcome back to the Devori Darkins Show. In this video, we're going to be covering this bombshell update when it comes to polling in regards to Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Now, this is being talked about on Fox Business on the show Mornings with Maria, and she brings on a guest by the name of Robert Cahaly, who is a pollster, and he starts pointing out the obvious, which is bad news for Kamala Harris, because remember something, she is lagging behind when it comes to the black vote, the Latino vote, and the blue collar middle class vote in the swing states. And so we've talked about this a couple of times, where the Democrats, they're trying to get everybody to buy into this idea that everything's going great, but the numbers are saying otherwise.
And I think this whole convention has really been built on trying to get people to get comfortable with the presidency without really knowing how it would operate. I mean, a lot of what we know about Harris comes from her own record, her voting record in the Senate, liberal, her statements when she ran for president, very liberal, and her actions is working for Joe Biden, which resulted in a mid-30s approval rating for the Biden-Harris administration. Now, through anonymous spokespeople, a lot of that's been attempted to be walked back. Nothing we've heard this week and nothing we heard last night would tell you what would they do if they got elected president. So I as a voter, I think we need to hear a little bit more about that. All the things we heard last night, from Oprah to everything else, is about, hey, she's got the right vibe, so let's just vote for it and see what happens. To me, that's not quite good enough. I mean, she's obviously come a long way in the polls from where Biden was, but to get over the hump, I really do think you got to tell people, what would your actions be? The one policy she has unveiled has been panned across the board by economists and media alike since she did it on Friday. So I think she's going to have to get a little more serious about what would you do as the president.
Yeah, hats off to Scott Jennings. He is providing a level of common sense and reality to these individuals, and that's the uphill battle she has. Is she's yet to define who she is, what she's going to stand for, what she's going to do for everyday Americans. Remember, it's not about what's going on in California or even in Florida or Texas. We're talking Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Those three states matter the most. And she's yet to do anything to appeal to those voters over there. And so that is an absolute uphill battle. And it speaks to, when we get into the polling data later in this video, why the numbers are what they are. Let's go over a couple of facts. It is a fact that back in 2016, the polls were incorrect, meaning the polls had Hilary Clinton up as much as 8 points at a certain time leading up to the election. And then she ended up losing, meaning the polls were off. Same thing in 2020. Did you guys know that Biden was overstated in the polls by 4 percentage points? 4. And so, again, what we're seeing in this polling data leading up to this point is there's more enthusiasm for people on the Democrat side to answer these calls. Listen, I've never even received a polling call, by the way, but whatever. They're more likely to answer the phone and give their 2 cents, right? And so right now, these polls are really Democratic heavy, and they're not actually telling the full story of the amount of support that exists for Trump. So the fact that she is tied with Trump or barely leading by 1 or 2 points here or there, it's not really good. So
nobody tonight said a damn thing. They want you to vote for a ticket based on absolutely no concrete idea about what they would do once they get in office. You said he got more progressive when he got elected governor. So you're saying every time he gets another office, he gets more and more progressive. I think that's exactly what would happen. Tonight, you did hear people say, well, we may not agree with them on everything, but at least it'll be joyful as they tax us into oblivion. I think the idea that you could run an entire presidential campaign based on the idea of vote for me to find out what's in it.
Wait a minute,
ought to
Scott.
terrify every American.
Scott, your candidate has done that his entire political career. I mean, Donald Trump does not talk about any policy issue.
Sure he does.
He's going to lower inflation. He's going to eliminate inflation. Excuse me. That's on day one. He's going to take away Obamacare on day one. I mean,
he's going to be tougher on immigration.
Your argument. I understand your argument, but it doesn't. Given the candidate who you are backing, it rings a little hollow because there is no flesh on the bone of anything he's talking about.
I'm the only person here that doesn't sign up to work for candidates, okay? Like, I work for CNN. I'm here to analyze the news. That's number one. Number two, I think what they are telegraphing to the American people is, we know if we told you what we were going to do, it would be monumentally unpopular.
Okay, so I want to respond to Anderson Cooper. Trump has been absolutely more consistent when it comes to his policy positions. Even if I agree with him and I say, hey, you know what? Trump doesn't go into detail about his policies. At least he has policies. At least he's saying what he's going to do. She's not saying any of that, right? So I find that claim to be just disingenuous, of course. But again, he has Agenda 47. You could go to his website and read it. It goes even more into depth when you download the PDF about what they plan to do on each of these policy positions. And here's the other thing. I think former President Trump has more leadway in this conversation because he was already the president and he had already did it. So the fact that he has results to show, hey, I have secured the border before. I was able to make sure that inflation did not rise. I was make sure that the unemployment rate was low. I did do this. I did do that. I mean, the CNN, they're something else. So there's that. And again, it speaks to the overall problem Kamala Harris and her campaign is going to continue to have. Things are going to get really crazy for her after this DNC, especially leading up to the debate, if she still refuses to define what her policy positions are. And this is why when pollsters are going on the news, the updates that they are providing are not really favorable for Kamala Harris because she is not getting the same level of support that Joe Biden was getting with the voters that actually matter. The voters that will decide the election are voters in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And last time I checked, and we're about to watch this, she's not doing as good as she needs to.
Are you seeing the fact that she's not actually getting back up to historical averages on her side in the blue-collar worker, the African-American vote, the Hispanic vote, and the Asian vote? She's still lagging behind what they have traditionally done, which is making up some of these valuable swing state polls, which are actually going to decide the election.
There's no question. And what you see in Georgia is very accurate because the group that she's most enthused are younger people that were just going to sit it out. Mm-hmm. And she's brought them back, that are left-leaning, brought them back into wanting to participate. And most especially the older African-American crowd and the African-American females. The move with a lot of the African-American males toward Trump has not changed, right, and that is still strong. But it is that enthusiasm of people who might have, when they originally polled before, been represented by people who said they might vote to people who definitely vote, is what I would attribute most of her rise to, that new group. But it is true that enthusiasm that Biden have of being able to relate to those Midwest blue-collar workers, at this point, she hasn't made the sale to them.
Right. Robert, how do you think this election plays out November 5th?
It is going to be very close. I mean, I think, anyone who takes it for granted, the one thing I would have to agree with former President Clinton last night is don't get overconfident. Whichever side you're on, this thing is going to come down to every single vote, and it's going to be very tight. I think we could see an electoral college win by 3 or 4 points on either side. I think Trump has some advantages. I mean, once this convention's over, yep, it's kind of the end of the honeymoon period.
Right.
And with the RFK possibility, I think that may put Trump help level the field, and maybe there'll be some more accountability with her on issues.
All right.
Because there hadn't been any this week.
All right. So 3 things that stood out to me. Number 1, there's been zero accountability on where she stands, and that will definitely impact her polling numbers. So whatever she's been able to do, obviously has contributed to the fact that people on the left are excited to vote because they were not excited when President Biden was going to run. If we look at the history of her being held accountable, it doesn't really pan out very well for her. So that's number one. Number two, and I said in the beginning of the video, Trump, and especially people who support Trump, for some reason, and there's a lot of people who can't put their thumb on why this is. In 2016 and 2020, the polling numbers are off when it comes to Trump. That is a problem for her because she's not ahead. They're either tied, he's up here, she's up there. And right now, if you go onto realclearpolling.com, they still have Trump ahead of her in the swing states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and North Carolina, and Georgia, and Nevada. So, I mean, that just shows you that, you know, she's not doing very well. And number three, which I did a video on this the other day about how black men in larger numbers are supporting Trump. And Trump is going to get a larger percentage of the black vote than any other Republican has in history. Even if you go back to 2016 and 2020, his numbers are continuing to increase in that area. And I would actually contribute that because someone asked the question of why that was on X, formerly known as Twitter. My answer to it was very simple. Black men are more entrepreneurial today than we've ever been in history. And we understand that President Trump represents pro-business policies. So it's an easy choice, you know. However, for black women, it's not about that. For them, it's about making a statement. It's about history for them. It's about gender and race.
So a primary thing that you disagree with Kamala Harris about is certainly going to be abortion. Do you see her as representing the black community or no?
No, I don't see her representing America. See, America was built on spiritual principles. Them forefathers came over here. They built on some spiritual stuff here. All right, and our spirituality is going out the door. Okay, I could. Here's a perfect example. All right. If you choose to be gay and you're gay, I got gay friends. I got people in my family gay. But that transgender bullshit, that's got to go.
And when you have swing voters in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin who are absolutely fed up with everything about the political system, the candidate that can articulate some level of policy is more than likely going to get their vote. And right now, that is former President Trump. And that's my mindset. What about you? What do you guys think about this new update when it comes to the polling? That she's not really doing what she needs to do as far as the black male vote, as far as Latino vote, as far as the blue collar vote in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan. What do you think about the fact that the Democrats and her campaign is just trying to run on vibes? I want to hear what you guys' thoughts are and more in the comments section below. Thank you for checking out the video today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Stay grateful, stay focused, and stay true. Peace.